Hi there, and happy Tuesday, October 24. Let's do the astro weather. And firstly, happy Scorpio season. The sun moved into Scorpio at 3:20 a.m., and we are seeing a big shift in energy here. So, Scorpio is an I empower energy ruled by Pluto. It is the alchemist energy, and it's asking us to balance what we found out in Libra season. So, Libra searching for balance across relationships, across our needs and somebody else's needs. And now, Scorpio energy comes in. And it is asking us to purge those things that we found limiting and to transmute those limitations by understanding the psychological root cause of them. So, in other words, it wants us to look into the shadow of our minds and find out the beginning place and where it is that we built these rule structures that allow us to limit ourselves in bringing balance into our life as we move towards our purpose. So, Scorpio season is going to bring some secrets out, okay? We already have Mercury and Mars in Scorpio. So, Scorpio is that energy of intensity and passion and being comfortable in uncomfortable conversations and uncomfortable with taboo subjects. It's like a little detective energy, okay? And it only really has interest in people who want to allow it into its shadows. So, we find in Scorpio season that people tend to be a little bit more secretive because they hold back from expressing themselves and sharing things with people they don't share a deep bond with or they don't feel a deep understanding with. And so it's that energy of pushing away anything that is superficial. So you will find that you are not really willing to tell everyone what you're up to or include people on your forward moving action unless you feel like they really understand where you are coming from. And so, with this energy of secrecy, we do see a lot of people, particularly if you are someone who is an overthinker or you do suffer from anxiety, it does heighten those responses a little because everyone getting a little bit secretive and also we all get a little bit more intuitive, so we have the ability to be able to tell that somebody is holding back, and it's because they are. So we just really need to go internal during Scorpio season and try not to take offense to that. And remember the other part of Scorpio, the little detective that asks questions instead of just assuming. Now, the other thing to watch out for here is the unevolved energy of Scorpio that wants to take revenge. So, this could bring up some people from your past that think they need to come back and tell you how they feel. This could have you thinking quite vengeful thoughts. So, just be aware of that energy as well. And Scorpio season, particularly right now with Mercury and Mars, so our communication and our masculine energy and ability to initiate, we become quite sure of what we want and we become quite passionate about going after what we believe we deserve and what we need in our deep, desirable natures. So just watch out with that energy as well because of that, because of the sureness that we have. We might have a sharp tongue or someone else might have a sharp tongue. So it really is about being quite introspective and understanding that everyone's got their own stuff going on and trying not to be too offended if someone comes at you with a sharp tongue. But also, if they do, Scorpio season again is one of the seasons of transformation. Scorpio is 8th house and it is Pluto, and that is death and rebirth and transformation. So it is transformation through how we experience relationships. So if you are finding yourself very triggered during Scorpio season, very triggered to reactionary emotions, that is a really excellent time to look into where that might be coming from and just to see whether or not that is a reaction that you need to work on and transform into something a little more in line with who you are as this new person. And so this energy is intensifying the eclipse window as well. So because we are wrapping up a Scorpio Taurus axis eclipse season, the one that started in November 2021, we are closing that out with the Taurus eclipse this weekend. And so we will start feeling this desperate push to transform. So this might come in getting rid of relationships, standing up for your needs in a relationship, moving more towards an aesthetic that you like, whether that's your own personal appearance, the appearance of your house, wanting to move house, wanting to change things up. That's this transformative energy, changing the way you are, wanting to show up as this new evolved version of yourself that we have been working on throughout all of these retrogrades and this eclipse season. And themes that have been coming up over the last 2 years will start kind of showing up in order for you to realize that we are closing those out. Okay, so this is that energy of being fearless as well. Scorpio, very, very comfortable and passionate and intense and knowing what it wants, and is quite fearless about achieving it. So it comes with this refusal to be intimidated as well. So it's a really good time if you have been working on yourself and you want to show up as this new character. Now is the time, because the likelihood of someone being able to intimidate you or push you back into old cycles, it's much lower during Scorpio season. And we are less likely to accept answers that we think are untrue. So you can kind of use this energy to like ask those provocative questions and really to disrupt your own and other people's views of what they think is comfortable and what they think is the way forward. Okay, so this is, go out there, uncover secrets, because they are going to come up. If not with just Scorpio season, definitely with this eclipse energy. So let's have a look at the aspects. And we have got Mercury making a sextile aspect to Lilith at 2:19 a.m. So it's a positive aspect, and it's looking at how we are self-critical and how we have let ourselves down, or how we may have been oppressed. And this Mercury in Scorpio is asking for like a deep communication about it with ourselves. So it wants us to look at where it's come from and what we repress about it, and where we do not put ourselves first. Okay, now then the moon goes void at 6:04 a.m. until 7:32 p.m. It is a void all day. So, and it's going void with a square to Uranus. So you might find that today is going to be annoying. Things might come up suddenly that need to change, things getting in the way of your plans, decisions that you may not working out. A lot of this energy around today, because we are in a void moon period for most of the day. Try not to make any big decisions. Don't go and do any big shops, any important purchases. Any important decisions in relationships shouldn't be made during the void moon, particularly this one, because it's that energy of not seeing everything. Okay, the moon is void, meaning it doesn't have a position or an energy, and so there are things that we might not be able to see very clearly. Okay, so then at 11:52 a.m. we see a nicer aspect between the moon, who is void, and Neptune in Pisces. So it's really activating that dreamland and that void moon space. And this is kind of working with the dream, working with the imagination, and trying to see how we can take movement from our own authentic self. Then at 4:06 p.m., the moon comes up against Pluto in Capricorn, again in a positive aspect. So this will give us the ability to emotionally adapt to anything that's kind of thrown up in our face, okay? And this is like a mature look at what we need to transform in that emotional shadow. And this could come in the form of somebody bringing something up that sort of triggers a memory. Okay, and so then 6:13 p.m. we have the sun trining Saturn. So the sun newly in Scorpio, Saturn in Pisces, making a positive aspect, bringing us strength and success, bringing us a really steady energy, some self-confidence coming out, the ability to work hard, to be structured. Our passions are reignited. We are able to be persistent at what we're trying to achieve. And this is a masculine energy and relationships with masculine authority figures being supported by this aspect. And just be aware that it could bring up some deep emotional sides out of people that would normally be repressed, particularly if you are around people that you do feel like you have a deep bond with, okay? Then at 7:16 p.m., we have a moon making a quintile aspect with Jupiter. So this is a restless energy, okay? This is restless about your individual expansion. So some of these ideas would have come up during the day with the moon making aspects. And now as we're starting to come out of the void moon phase, we might start seeing things that we want to change. Like this is that energy, that transformation energy, really looking at our individual natures. And we might say, oh, I want to cut my hair, I want to do this, I want to do that. Just wait until the moon is not void, okay, after 7:30. So at 7:30, moon goes to emotional, deep ocean Pisces, all right? So you might find that you do not want to make those decisions because your emotional nature might not agree with it after we get this moon in Pisces, because this is, I don't want to rush, I am passive, I want to sit around and dream. This is an inability to keep to a schedule, okay? So we are looking at like Wednesday and Thursday this week under a Pisces moon. Try not to overschedule yourself because it is quite difficult to keep to a schedule with a Pisces moon, because it's quite an emotional energy. It's a very intuitive energy as well, and it's very creative. And so we really don't want to be kept in a box when the moon is in Pisces. It's a really good energy for leaning into your imagination and any ideas that you need to be working on. It's not very good for being down to earth, so try not to get into any arguments, try not to do too much, really hard on your mental state kind of activities, because your brain wants to be off dreaming, it really does. So then at 8:34 p.m., we get a conjunction between the moon and Saturn, and this is not a nice energy, okay? This is depression, this is discomfort, this is, it's a down vibe. You might feel like you're alone, but you also want to be alone. You might feel quite stubborn, you might feel very dissatisfied with everything. This is like a feminine energy being exaggerated, but with kind of a really uncomfortable aspect. So it's like being uncomfortable in your deep emotions, because you feel like you should be more strict about how you are responding to your emotions. So you could also, even though you're feeling quite introverted, you might feel very lonely during this aspect. At 8:44 p.m., so this is only 10 minutes later, so hopefully you don't get too much of that lonely energy, but trying to plan maybe on Tuesday night to be, in contact with someone that you love, because we do have a sun and moon trine at 8:44 p.m. So this is overall happiness energy. This is masculine energy and feminine energy being aligned. And this is that sun in Scorpio really happily bringing up that deep creativity of Pisces, okay? And this is like wanting to know somebody on a deeper level as well. Like it's like the sun intensely shining onto the emotional state of Pisces there. So it is a nice energy there. However, at 11:25, again, this is why this day is going to be so annoying. There's an opposition between the moon in Pisces and Lilith in Virgo. So this is like dreamy Pisces, but it can also be emotionally manipulative. And a Pisces moon can also detach from emotions or attach in victimhood. So with this opposition to Lilith, we could find ourselves being very judgmental on how we are feeling about what has been coming up and about how we have let ourselves down or been too critical. And this could really be an energy like we are drowning in like self-hate ideas, like we're being very hard on ourselves. And even though this is a negative aspect and it is kind of a fight energy between, our emotional, our depth and our critical natures, if we can take a look at what is being emotionally triggered here, this is what Lilith wants us to do. So then we get these aspects with Lilith, who she wants to uncover the darkness. And so when we find ourselves in these negative emotional spaces in relation to Lilith making aspects, that is what she wants us to find out. So get your journal out and write it all down. All right, that's what I've got for you for Tuesday, and I'll see you tomorrow.